Chair, I second the nomination of Senator Justin Alvon for President of the Senate. Would like to speak to the motion. Thank you very much. Colleagues, I'd like to talk a little bit about values when it comes to this individual. I've known Justin for a while and I've watched him for a while. People think all I do is talk, but sometimes I watch too. Don't laugh, Senator. And Justin's from Dover Foxcroft. He had the good sense to come to my beautiful city of Portland. And the first contact that I had with him was when he was running the League of Young Voters. The League nationally was looking for sites where they thought they could influence young voters, that they could bring young voters to the polls. We have poor numbers for very young voters. And Justin stepped up as the executive director of the League of Young Voters. It wasn't called that then. The League of Young Voters. But what he did was he professionalized an organization of young, scrappy volunteers. And he brought a sense of value around democracy and around voting and around knowing who your elected officials are and getting to the polls, and set the stage for probably the best voter guide that's written in the state, in my opinion, is written by the League of Young Voters. They do an excellent job down there. And they did that based on some real hard work, but also a sense of value around people understanding democracy and understanding how it works. I watched that. That's how I got to know Justin, because I was a candidate, wanted to make sure that the League, loved me, of course. I did all the things that I could do in order to entice them to endorse me. And I will tell you, however, that Justin is not without some faults. And I think this is what makes him human, and that is that at one League of Young Voters event, I brought one of my wonderful dishes of bean stew and served that up to everybody. It was at Justin's house. And because it wasn't all gone, I left my pot there with the rest of the stew in it, assuming the next day, of course, he'd knock on my door and said, "Gee, Ian, thanks so much. Here's your pot." But no. A week went by, and a couple weeks went by, 3 weeks went by, and no pot showed up on my door. And so I called and said, "By any chance did I leave my pot?" And of course I knew and well where it was. And the good senator said, "Oh yes, I'll get that to you, Ann." Sure enough. And weeks went by, and 6 months went by, and I still didn't have what is my favorite pot to cook stew in. And you would have thought that the man had enough money to buy a pot of his own. Apparently he coveted mine, and he only wanted to buy mine. And it wasn't until after I made it extraordinarily clear that there would be no more communication between us until he delivered such stew pot that he did show up. So just so you know, don't leave anything in his house. However, if you want a person with a true sense of democracy, with a true sense of fairness and honesty and democratic values, standing up in front of people, standing up beside our governor, in front of our governor, and around our governor, standing up in front of us, the face of this party, I'll tell you, you couldn't have anyone better than Justin Alvon, and it's my pleasure to second his